Spin to win with the all-new Vokal Vostra V10 300 gram edition. Vokal updates its beloved V10 series with the Vostra V10 edition. For this 300 gram frame, Vokal updates its frame layup with a new red cell graphite as a whole, and it brings back the iconic V-engine frame geometry. This allows for elongated mains in the throat of the racket, and additionally, Vokal adds Riva dampening throughout the hoop and the handle. Overall, Vokal has made a more responsive and simultaneously more comfortable experience on the whole. The racket features a control-oriented 98 square inch head size, along with a more open 16 by 19 string pattern. The racket on average came out to around 3 points headlight strung with a sub 320 swing weight. What's up everyone? Super excited to be testing out this V10 300 gram frame from Vokal today. And for the most part, this playtest went really well for me. It's a super whippy racket with a sub 320 swing weight, so I feel like I was able to generate a lot of racket head speed on my ground strokes in particular, really hammering the backhand into both corners and able to shape my shots effectively with spin on the forehand in particular. But yeah, maneuverability really is the name of the game here. This racket really reminded me of some of my favorites from Yonex and Prince, kind of like a hybrid between those maybe. Very comfortable, very spin friendly, so that's gonna go a long way results-wise for me. And I did enjoy this frame actually on all areas of the court. Really nice up at net, good for serving and volleying as well. But this did shine on the ground strokes the most for me in particular. And I would say that it's probably one of my favorite frames from Vokal. Maybe not quite as much mass overall as I would like, but I felt like that lighter weight really translated to good racket head speed, and the racket was just able to take off and be fun. So yeah, great frame from Vokal, definitely worth checking out.
I've had the opportunity to test several of the older models of the Light 10 series from Vokal, and I'm happy to report, just like the V-Cell 10, this 10 Vostra offers a little bit more power than those older models. And off the ground, I actually was really enjoying the balance of power and control. I like a little bit of free power, but not too much, because in tighter situations, I want to be able to swing out and not fear that I'm going to overhit and just miss my shot long because I hit such a flat ball. I was getting good amount of precision, I think, from this racket in those situations, as well as enough easy depth and top spin when I needed it. The one issue I did have with this racket is that I wanted a little bit more feedback when I was missing the sweet spot, so I found it to be a little bit too dampened for my taste overall. I did find it to be very comfortable though on those miss hits, which I really did appreciate when I was up at net, whereas the area of court I'm not as comfortable, so I tend to miss the sweet spot more often than I do from the ground strokes. And on serve, for me, maneuverability was a standout. I was not serving people off the court with this racket, which is usually the case, but I really liked the consistency I was getting on that shot. Overall, I found this to be a great racket that offered a balance of control and power. Overall, just not the feel for me. That wraps up our thoughts out here in California. Next, we're headed to Georgia. Jofi, how did this racket work for you?
Thanks, Tiff. Having tested a bunch of different Vokal rackets recently, I was really excited to see how the V10 300 performs. All in all, I enjoyed the racket on the baseline. I would say I had enough power just to get my balls deep enough, but I would definitely not say that the racket is overpowering. Compared to the Vostra V9 305, I would say this racket definitely had better pocketing. I really enjoyed how the balls were sitting a bit longer on the string bed, and that was a big plus for me. When it comes to spin, I would say that once we dropped the string tension down to about 35 pounds, I definitely enjoyed how the racket allowed me to grip the balls with that spin and hit the balls deeper in the court with that. One of my favorite shots with this racket was a slice. I really enjoyed how nice and low my shots were sitting on the court, and I had great sensation and a great feel for where my shots will be going. So I would say control and precision is definitely a highlight of this racket. I also really enjoyed this racket in volleys. I thought I had great pocketing there as well, and just a great feel for where my balls will be going. I did miss a bit of stability, unfortunately. So let's say if I was hitting against an opponent that was hitting with heavier spin, I sometimes felt the racket become unstable and twist a little bit in my hand, which I'm not really used to, or I don't really prefer as much. So to counter that, I would love to add a bit more weight to the racket head, just to make it a bit more stable. All in all, I think this is a great racket, and I think with a bit of customization, this can really become something very special.
I was in both the reviews of the Vostra 8 and the Vostra 9, and I gotta say that this new Volco Vostra 10 300 was probably the one that felt the best for me. I could tell right away after playing for just a couple of hours that this racket levitates more towards the precisions, more muted response, and better feeling of the ball type of racket. Similar to the Vostra 9 305, I found myself being very precise and knowing where my shots were going to land every time I contact the ball. The only difference was that with this Vostra 10, I was able to generate more racket speed and it felt a little more stable hitting against heavy hitters. However, the one thing that I kind of like ran into is that every time I hit out of the sweet spot, I totally lose control of the ball and I felt like the racket was flapping around a bit too much. Kind of like similar feeling what I had with the Vostra 9. One adjustment we did after the first time we played with this Vostra 10 was to lower down the tension. Once we dropped it down almost around below 40, we were able to generate more spin and have a better feeling of the ball. I usually levitate towards rackets that I'm still able to feel very precise, but I still can get more spin and power without doing too much. A highlight shot for me for this racket was probably my slice and volleys. On the slice, I was able to keep the ball low and fast and change the rhythm of the rally. While on my volleys, because the racket feels so maneuverable, I found myself always hitting in front and never being late for those shots. Overall, this new Vostra 10 300, I consider it to be a more spin-friendly racket than the Vostra 9, but still a more control-oriented compared to the Vostra 8. In a way, I found it to be a great mix for both rackets. Overall, I think this is a great racket for people that are looking for a fast, quick, and maneuverable racket. Thanks for watching, guys. We strung up this Vostra V10 300 with Volco Cyclone with the variations of tensions between 35 and 52. For more information on this racket and any others, please visit our website, Tennis Warehouse, Tennis Warehouse Europe, and Tennis Only.